Good morning, everyone, here in person and on Zoom land. My name is Terry Conator, and I welcome you all to our service for Sunday, March the 7th, 2021. So please, at this time, stand if you're able, and we will sing our Song of Joy with the help of Mark and Taylor. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Taylor and Mark. Please join me now in reading our vision, mission, and affirmation statements. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation: I hold a vision, a grand vision for my life. I affirm that I am a person of unlimited faith. I believe that all things are possible. I trust Spirit to do the creative work in my life adventure. I affirm that whatever I encounter, there is a perfect solution. Now for today's invocation. Please get comfortable in your seat. Maybe close your eyes if you choose. Let us take a moment to calm ourselves and be here in the now. In this very moment, we invoke Spirit, God, the divine, whatever you call it, and acknowledge its presence in this room and with everyone on this Zoom meeting. This oneness blesses us all and vitalizes our every being, bringing all goodness into our experience and preparing us for even greater experiences of good. We give great thanks that we are here today among like-minded individuals, and we know that we are lifting the entire world. And so it is. And now for our reading. I was scouring the bookstore and couldn't find something that I needed to be appropriate for today, but I finally found a single card. And I thought, this will work. This is by Emmett Fox, and it's entitled Sowing and Reaping. There is no such thing as luck. Nothing ever happens by chance. Everything, good or bad, that comes into your life is there as the result of unvarying, inescapable law. And the only operator of that law is none other than yourself. No one else has ever done you any harm of any kind or ever could do so, however much it may seem that he did. Consciously or unconsciously, we have ourselves at some time or other produced every condition, desirable or undesirable, that we find ourselves in, either bodily health or circumstances today. You and you alone ordered those goods, and now they are being delivered. And as long as you go on thinking wrongly about yourself and about life, the same sort of difficulties will continue to harass you. For every seed must inevitably bring forth after its own kind, and thought is the seed of destiny. Yet there is a simple way out of trouble. Learn how to think rightly instead of wrongly, and conditions at once begin to improve until sooner or later, all ill health, poverty, and inharmony must disappear. Such is the law. Life need not be a battle. It can and should be a glorious, mystical adventure. But living is a science. Now, I would like to introduce Mark and Taylor to come back and play some more music for us. Thank you.
So this first song that we're doing today is from a musical called Barnum. It's the circus musical about Barnum and Bailey. And it's kind of a fun little song. It's called One Brick at a Time. And it's about building a foundation for the future, one brick at a time. The Lord gave each and every one the strength to do what can't be done, the brawn, the brain, the courage, and the heart. The strength to bend the strongest bar, the will to reach the farthest star. It's just a case of learning how to start to build a tower up so high to the cloud. You'll anchor, build it one tiny brick at a time. Bucks multiply till a bum's a banker. It begins with a thin silver dime. That empty field, it can yield miles and miles of flowers. You don't need no magic powers, just a seed and showers from the floor to the sky. You can soar if you're wise enough to climb, one brick at a time. To build a ship that's built to last, you lay the keel, then raise the mast. An ode begins with just a simple rhyme. In oak with roots a mile beneath becomes a stick to pick your teeth. Just sharpen up your knife, take your time. One stalwart chap with a cup and a bunch of hours, he can scoop all the salt from the sea. Buds up and up, turning bowls to bowers. It begins with just one bumblebee to write with these symphonies, or at least cantates filled with trills and obligatis. Start with fa sol to be the best. If you must, leave the rest to the dust. If you just climb one brick at a time.
Gee, what a fun song. That was a lot of words. Thank you guys very much. And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker, our beloved and esteemed Dr. Edward Brobaugh.
All right, let's start over. Good morning, now that everyone can hear me. Terry, thanks for the reading. And y'all, thanks for the music. As Terry said, there's a lot of words. So today is March 7th, and the title of the topic is Preparing the Ground for Spring. And this comes about because this month I'm going to speak on twice, and I'm going to speak on related topics with a common theme. So as we know, spring is about upon us, but not officially, and the growing season is about to start. So first, this talk is on preparing the garden for planting, and then in 2 weeks I will speak on planting. And of course, this is all going to be related to our spiritual growth, and not just with respect to vegetable gardens. So March 20th is the official start of spring. And if you look in the Farmer's Almanac, you'll find that many crops, for many crops, it's well past time for planting in your house for later transplanting. But it's not until later this month and early next month that you would be wanting to plant directly into the ground, for what that's worth. I do know we have gardeners in the crowd here, though. So I'm going to start out. I usually don't get into the Bible much, but this is a parable of the sower, and this is according to Matthew 13, 1 to 8, and then 19 through something or another. It says, That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea, and great crowds gathered upon him, so that he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, and they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up. But since there was no depth of soil, when the sun rose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell upon thorns, among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. And a little later on in the same Matthew, says, when anyone hears, this is the meaning of the parable as it was explained then, when anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in his heart. This is what was sown on the path. And as for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. And then tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, and immediately he falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, and the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it proves unfruitful. As for what is sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it. He or she indeed bears fruit and yields, in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in another 30. So while it's a little early for planting, as I said, it's now a very good time for working in the garden and preparing the soil for planting. And I know it's a little cold at night still here in Las Cruces, but you know, we have these occasional cold fronts move in, as we experienced a week or so ago. But there's still many days that it's perfect for working outside. You can barely work up a sweat and get an awful lot done. So I came up with 4 activities that you might want to get done to get the garden ready for planting in the growing season. And then I've added analogous spiritual activities to these. And you may not do them exactly in the same order as I have them here, but that's all right too. But the first one is to clean and ready your tools. For the garden, it's obvious you will need a shovel or a spade, rakes, hose, etc. So take an inventory of what's in your shed, and you look them over, and maybe they got a little rusty, or maybe the handle was broken on one of them last season and you just kind of put it away and you forgot to do it, and now you need to do it. And while you're looking at your tools, you find that some of them were more or less useful than others. And some of those, when you were at Home Depot, you thought they looked really good and you had to have them, and you got them home and, they didn't work out quite the way they had been advertised for you. So what about our spiritual tools? Now, spiritual tools may not be tangible items so much as maybe their actions or practices. And so what's in your personal toolbox is a personal arsenal of healthy actions and practices to choose from or to combine when you feel challenged. You may have already been using some of them, and others may be new to you, or you forgot that they might be useful. Also, there may be some tools that are missing that you need to incorporate in your toolbox. So your spiritual toolbox contains things like creativity and gratitude practices, exercise, meditation, time in nature, journaling, perhaps, a hug from someone special, and maybe sometimes something as simple as a hot bath to help you relax. So again, not necessarily garden related, but in practical terms, the tools in our spiritual toolbox are simple things we can do on most days that will significantly impact our entire life in all areas, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and even financially. And just like the tools in your garden shed, some activities or practices don't work for you as well as they might for others. And so a little judicious choosing of the tools that work for you is called for. Because they worked for Sam or Joe or Jim or Mary doesn't mean that they're your bag. So what we say about the importance of our spiritual practice is that we need to do it in good times so that when the not so good times come along, we automatically fall back on those or into those practices to get us through the not so good times. So moving on to the garden again, we need to check our water system for leaks. Now in my garden I have a drip system, and it's always springing leaks. And I don't know, I think that there's some bird that walks along my thing and with a really sharp beak and pecks that. I do not know where all these leaks come from. I'm serious. It's like it's a brand new hose, and 2 weeks later there's leaks in it. I know the quality can't be that bad, otherwise they probably couldn't sell it. But at any rate, be that it may, I can't figure it out. So spiritually, if your energy system is full of leaks, you won't get the nourishment you need for growth. And so what does a spiritual leak do? This is not too uncommon from what we talked about a few weeks ago. But an example of evidence of a spiritual leak may be that you go to a spiritual retreat or a workshop, and you come back from that and you're all charged up and pumped up and everything is feeling fantastic. And then over the next couple of days, maybe 3 days, you suddenly realize that you're kind of back to where you were before you went to the workshop. Because your spiritual cocoon, shall we say, is a little leaky. So anyway, here's some things that might contribute to your spiritual leaks. Exhaustion due to overdoing or not getting enough rest. Something as simple as not getting enough rest. Not leaving enough time for relaxation, play, or social interaction and bonding with others. How many of us get grumpy if we don't get enough rest? All right, it looks unanimous. So as I said, don't everybody raise your hand, but I know you're out there. Another one is disease of the body. If we aren't taking care of our body, then illness or disease will consume our time and energy. I sure know that when I'm not feeling well, it's a little harder for me to focus on meditation or some other spiritual practice. I wasn't quite sure how to put this in a short phrase, but I call it excessive or excess emotional reactivity. How easy is it for a reaction to something to move us away from our center? And you can all think of examples of that. We could always, I won't even use the example we always go. But I am going to throw in here watching the news for 24/7. That might be something that causes us to be upset and leaks out our energy, so to speak. So remember, energy goes where the mind flows. And another one, limiting beliefs. That might be an energy sucker. And that's coming from our own mind. It's not from external. Maybe a fear of failure, self-doubt, worrying, and just all around limiting beliefs of any kind will diminish your vitality, bleed off your energy. Or these, another way of describing that might be self-sabotaging thoughts. All right, so number 3, I think I said there were 4. Number 3 is to pull some weeds. Now, if your garden is anything like mine, the mustard weeds are already coming up. You know, it doesn't take much, a few warm days in January, and boy, they're ready to go. So, and we certainly don't want to till them into our soil, so we're going to have to get rid of them some way or another. And as my mother used to say, be sure and get all the roots. Cutting off the tops won't work, and they'll just grow back. Now, as a kid, you didn't want to hear that. You wanted the easy thing. Yeah, so again, if we don't get to the roots of our issues, they just come back. And it's easy for me to segue here into the Michael Rice book and his teachings of, you know, why is this happening to me again? Right? As he says, no matter how far you go to run away from your problems, you always take them with you. You are the common theme in your life. So now is a good time to identify some weeds and pull them out by the roots. And then number 4 is fertilize and till the ground. We know we need to put some nutrients into the ground for the upcoming growing season. And so what can we put in our soil now that will continue throughout the next months? Slow release fertilizer is probably going to be a little better than a quick dose. You know, the high nitrogen will grow the weeds and it'll be all gone by the time you get ready to plant in a couple weeks. And so then we've got to mix this up and smooth it out, prepare the bed for planting. And as Holmes says, prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. So I was reading Eric Butterworth the other day, and he made some interesting points that I thought would fit in here. He points out that we may have the wrong idea or approach to the law or truth. There's nothing wrong with our faith in the operation of the law. However, most times we use the law to solve problems. And this was a nuance I hadn't thought about. So I'm going to read from the book Practical Metaphysics by Eric Butterworth. And this is page 180. I said 180, I think it's 182. Oh, okay. The purpose of truth is not just to solve problems. I want to ask you something, because even though it is essentially correct, we need to see it all in perspective. Is the purpose of food to prevent starvation? Is the purpose of breathing to prevent asphyxiation? It might seem so. So it's in this context that we think of the purpose of truth to solve problems. You need the truth when you solve problems, and when the problems are solved, then what? However, if we learn to eat and breathe correctly, then starvation and asphyxiation lose all relevance for us. They don't exist in our life. They're not even possibilities. They become a part of the rhythm of life, and they're not last-ditch efforts to save us from difficulties. What we need to understand then is to receive the truth not simply as a problem-solving series of techniques, but as a fundamental key to abundant life. We really begin to use the truth. We're not simply using it to solve problems, but we come to a consciousness in which problems have lesser and lesser reality for us, and finally, we don't even see problems as a part of our life. We know the truth because it keeps us in tune with the dynamic upward swing of life. Jesus says, "Take no thought that ye shall eat and what ye shall drink." Take no thought what ye shall eat and what ye shall drink, but seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added. He's saying, take your mind off the idea of making demonstrations in life and begin to assemble your thoughts in a deeper awareness of life. Ultimately, you'll come to know that your demonstrations... Gosh, I'm having trouble today. Ultimately, you'll come to know that your demonstrations will make you. Truth begins to use us. He did talk about it a couple pages later. He called them metaphysical hypochondriacs. All right. So, why did I bring this up? Because we want to create an environment that is growth friendly so that when the seed is planted, it will sprout and be nourished. We create a calmness, acceptance, and willingness within ourselves so that the conditions are favorable for growth. Another fertilizer or nutrient we might consider putting into place is our spiritual team. We talked about that last month. And the way to use them is to acknowledge that they are ready, willing, and able to support the soon-to-be planted seeds or ideas or projects, whatever fruits we anticipate our garden to bear. So we've done this, then we take a breath, we imagine the wonderful results we expect to achieve, and wait for the proper time to plant the various seeds. So in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the planting and growth of our garden. But for now, we just know that we dug out and dusted off our spiritual tools, checked to see if they were still relevant, and if we needed to discard some, perhaps add some others. We made sure that our spiritual energy was flowing smoothly and that we didn't have any kinks or leaks in the form of blockages or strong emotional reactions. We pulled the weeds that had come up while we were paying attention to other aspects of our life. And finally, we prepared the seed beds by adding proper nutrients, mixing those in, and smoothing out the soil. So now we can rejoice knowing that all is ready for the coming growing season. And so it is. It is. So let's have a prayer. And as probably all of you know, Betty Minden fell and broke her hip and had surgery yesterday and is doing well today. And I guess the PT folks have her walking already. So she's doing well, but we're still going to include her in our prayer today, as well as everyone else in our congregation and everyone in the world, but in particular those that we're aware of. So, and we always start out knowing that God is all there is, that Spirit is that one force, that one energy that is flowing through, in, and around the entire universe. The universe makes up that Spirit. And because of that, we also have that same Spirit flowing through us, supporting us. As a matter of fact, we're made of that same Spirit stuff. We have all the joy and the love and the energy, the power that we attribute to that one Spirit. And we are constantly using that, whether we're aware of it or not. So we turn our minds and return daily, maybe hourly, maybe by the minute, to touch that oneness that we are. We just know that that is a perfection that is expressing itself through us. So we take this time as we've built the energy of this prayer and we extend it to Betty Minden. We just see her in her perfection, in that godness that she is. And we also take this same energy of this prayer and we encompass every one of us here in this sanctuary today and on this Zoom meeting. We know that we are linked together by this love and this caring and this energy that we share. We just see this huge bubble extending from us out to our community, our families, our friends, the Las Cruces community, the United States of America, and the world. We just know that as we raise our consciousness, that we are lifting the consciousness of the entire world. That is our duty as spiritual first responders, to elevate ourselves and to elevate the world. We know that in this lifting process, it helps others to step into their magnificence. So we just give thanks that we are part of this community, we are part of this prayer, that we are among our family and friends here, our community of like-minded individuals. We have each other's back, as does Spirit. Spirit has our back. And so we just take this energy of this prayer and all the intentions and all the love that it contains, and we just release it and we place it into the law, we place it into the mind, we place it into Spirit, we place it into that action. And we give thanks again because we know that it is already done. It is done. And so it is. Now we have Mark and Taylor again.
So this next song is one that I found sort of about gardening and just sowing seeds of intention. This song is called Planting Seeds of Love. love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. And as they grow, I take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. And as they grow, they overflow in every part of my heart. Heart to heart, friend to friend. Sing it out again. I am planting seeds of peace in my heart. I am planting seeds of peace in my heart. And as they grow, I take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of peace in my heart. And as they grow, they overflow in every part of my heart. Heart to heart, friend to friend. Sing it out again. I am planting seeds of joy in my heart. I am planting seeds of joy in my heart. And as they grow, I take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of joy in my heart. And as they grow, they overflow in every part of my heart. Heart to heart, friend to friend. Sing it out again. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of peace in my heart. I am planting seeds of joy in my heart.
Well, I would say that was a very appropriate and lovely little song. Thank you. Okay, we have some announcements for y'all now. If I can get to my page here. Okay. As you know, we are continuing with our hybrid service, having live services as well as in Zoom land. If you wish to attend in person with us, please make sure that you are well, and remember that we will be masking and social distancing in person. Everybody, please stay healthy out there. Know that our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. We have a submit a prayer request button on our webpage, or you may contact Martha Ward or Geneva Collins with your request. That information is also on our website, www.wellspringnow.com. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you, so you may consider sitting in your space and quietly joining in with them. We know that we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. Here is a new announcement. We have 9 more leaves on the garden tree plaque that are still available for donations to the prayer garden. The board is considering adding a walkway from the porch to the pergola for easier access. Also, there is the cost of ongoing maintenance. So when writing your check, please make sure that you note in the memo line, Garden Fund, and in return, you will receive your leaf on the tree plaque. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in your weekly email and also on the website. Our speakers for March, the rest of March, will be Kamatara on March the 14th, Edward Brobaugh on March the 21st, and Erwin Albrecht on March the 28th. Wellspring has always been a tithing community, and 10% of what we receive goes directly to most local charities. During this time of virtual services, we thank you for your continuing giving. We ask that you mail your offerings to Wellspring, Post Office Box 1533, Las Cruces, New Mexico 88004, or you can use the donate button on our website to make your donation. We give great thanks for the offerings already given and those that we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We bless these gifts, and we know that they are multiplied throughout our community. There are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service. We are very grateful for your services, and we thank you all, everyone, for joining us today, in person or in Zoom land. So stay around after the service and visit with each other on Zoom, or you may come to the fellowship hall and have some coffee and goodies. Please read with me now the benediction, followed by our congregational song, our peace song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.